Alright, here we've got the finished product. Hi my YouTube people, how are you? Today we're going to be talking about the difference between tofu and seitan. Both are actually not meat products, they are not made of meat, but they are often used as stand-ins or replacements for meat for those who want to either adopt a more vegetarian or vegan lifestyle, or those who are actually vegan or vegetarian. Alright, I actually enjoy both. As you all know, I think I did a video on this a couple weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago even at this point, how I want to go mostly vegetarian. I also talked about this on my Patreon. So I'm doing very strong on that. I still do eat meat occasionally, just not as often as I used to. My purpose in doing this is I actually want to lose weight. I want to get healthier. And I just want to consume less meat. I'm not stopping eating meat. I really try to stick to, when I do eat meat, fish and chicken are my preferred forms of meat. Occasionally on an occasion, and when I say occasion, I mean, an occasion, I will eat red meat. Not a huge fan of pork. Actually, I really prefer vegan bacon. But I do also like sausage, right, every now and then too, especially sauteed cabbage and sausage is delicious. So good. And anyways, alright, but there's also tofurkey, which is also good, for example. But in this video, we're going to be focusing on tofu, which is made of soybean. This is actually, they're both protein. This is soybean protein. Soybean is, I believe, a vegetable or a fruit traditionally found in Asia. Seitan, I believe, was discovered or developed, I want to say, in China or Japan, somewhere in, the Eastern Asian continent, thousands and thousands of years ago, to be honest with you. Once again, made of soybeans. So this is completely vegan. Most people will not have any allergies to tofu at all. Tofu is very versatile. There's different ways of cooking it. You can bake it. You can also do the same with seitan. You can bake this. You can put this in sweet dishes as well, tofu. I love this in salad. So actually what we'll be doing today is we'll be making a salad. I'll be basically mixing both in the salad, but I'll be putting one on one side and the other on the other side, so you can kind of see and compare and see the difference. Both are very similar once again, but both are cooked differently. Alright, I know a lot of people struggle with seitan specifically, so I'm going to show you and maybe help you to cook seitan in this video. But like I said, tofu is made of soybeans. It's typically found in a block. It's made through the process of, I believe, taking soybeans, soaking them, either grinding the soybeans or something like that, or putting them through some sort of filtration system to a point that it becomes soy milk. And then that soy milk is curdled, some sort of spice is mixed into it, and then it goes through some process, it's pressed, and then it becomes tofu. Alright, so completely no meat, all vegetarian, all vegan tofu. Seitan is actually gluten. Seitan is wheat. So if you have a gluten allergy, which I know some people do, seitan may not be so good for you. Alright, seitan is made of basically wheat gluten. Alright, so I would say out of the two, which is more meat-like, if you were to go for, a more meat-like texture, a more meat-like experience, I would say seitan would be your best bet. Seitan makes a really good sandwich. It makes a really good, you can turn it into like poppers. When I was in college, they used to have this restaurant named Mojo's in Richmond, Virginia at VCU. I graduated in 2016 with an advertisement degree, and they had seitan, I think, like popcorn chicken, seitan chicken. It was so good. It was one of my favorite things to order. I kind of wish that restaurant was still up. It ended in the COVID era, but anyways, I think that's where my love for seitan started. Seitan, once again, is made from the process of mixing wheat or mixing all-purpose flour or all-wheat flour You mix it with water. You turn it into basically a dough-like texture. And then you basically drain all of the starch out of the actual dough through a process of filling it with water, and then you kind of knead the dough in the water. Eventually the water turns kind of like a pale white liquidy color. You pour the water out, and you basically keep doing that until the water is clear, or basically clear. After that, you've taken out all the starch, you've taken out all of the unprocessed unnecessary things, and basically what you have is a glob of gluten, wheat gluten, that has actually a lot of nutrients, a lot of protein. So isn't that quite interesting? Once again, also discovered many ancient thousands years ago, I think, in once again China, Asia, Japan, something like that, somewhere along those Eastern Asian countries. Alright, so here we have seitan. Out of the two, which would I say is my favorite? Really hard to choose. Both are really good in salads, which is what I use them for the most. Tofu is really, like, I would say, the more versatile out of the two. Seitan is really a really good meat replacement. Doesn't taste exactly like meat, but it gives you enough of a meat experience where it's like, okay, I could totally, like, not necessarily tell the difference all the time, if you cook seitan right. So it's really hard for me to choose, you all, with which one is my favorite. But the interesting thing is that both of these things you can actually make at home. Now, what I'm using is store-bought, alright? So both of these I bought from the store, but once again, are all natural, all organic. This seitan is already seasoned. We're going to season the tofu just a little bit. And I'll show you the differences in cooking them. But this is basically the differences in actually the textures, the process in terms of cooking, and the differences in terms of the actual ingredients and makeup of these two protein, vegan, vegetarian goodnesses, I guess. I actually love both of these things. So let's go ahead and show you the cooking process. I'm going to cook them side by side to show you because they're both cooked kind of differently. So let's go ahead and get into that. Alright, so we've got our setup. Over here on the left, we've got our seitan. This, like I said, looks a lot more like meat, to be honest with you. You can already see it has a meat-like texture, but be mindful that this is made of wheat gluten, all wheat or all-purpose flour, kneaded over time in a mixture of water to eventually get this gluten-like texture that looks like meat, but is actually very doughy-like. So we have to actually treat this like dough, meaning we kind of have to simmer it a bit, alright? So I've got my lid, my all-purpose lid, which we're going to use for this, alright, to simmer the seitan. Over here we have the tofu, which is once again a different texture. As you can see, tofu is a bit more easy to break up. So easy to break up. Seitan is way more difficult to break up. It's a very strong, chewy to doughy-like, meat-like texture. So imagine trying to break up a piece of meat, like that would be seitan. Seitan, or a piece of meat, is definitely not going to break up as easily as you can see like tofu is right here. But this is what makes tofu so versatile, because you can break it up or keep it in chunks like this for taco meat, or protein taco, some sort of taco protein thing, or little chunks for a salad, or little chunks for maybe a soup, so that's why I really appreciate tofu. But tofu, you don't actually have to simmer. You can simmer it if you like, but it's not necessarily required, such as it is with seitan. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn on both the burners. There we go. That one's on. We're going to turn this one on. There we go. We're going to put a little bit of oil in them. That was actually a lot of it, but that's okay. Ooh, that was a lot of it too, but it's okay. I haven't eaten all day, so I ain't not mad at it. So we'll let things kind of simmer. I'm going to get the seasonings out for the tofu once again because the seitan is already seasoned. I don't necessarily have to season it. Usually I don't, but maybe I'll hit it with some organic adobo or something like that before I really let it simmer and stew, so to speak. But for the tofu, because I'm just going to make basically a tofu seitan salad, I'm just going to make a, for the tofu I'm going to season it with some garlic salt and some organic adobo seasoning. Alright? So that's what we're going to use for the tofu. I might put some adobo seasoning, just sprinkle a little bit maybe on the seitan at the, towards the end, maybe. Alright, so we're just going to let things heat up there and we'll be right back. Alright, so we've got the seitan simmering over there. I have not seasoned it. I also have not quite seasoned the tofu, but you can see it kind of browning a bit. So that means it's a good time to season it. So I'm going to first hit it with some, once again, organic adobo seasoning. I get this from an organic store near me called Mom's Organic. But you can also probably get it from like a Whole Foods or something like that. Alright. And then I'm going to hit it with some garlic salt. Just some traditional garlic salt I think I got from the Spanish or Hispanic grocery store near me. Alright, so we're going to hit it with just a little bit of garlic salt, not too much. Because I can be a little bit heavy-handed with the garlic salt, chow. That's a good bit. Alright. Plus, for me, I like to put a little bit of dressing or a lot of bit of dressing at times on my salad anyway, so not too much salt. All right. So we're just gonna let it stew in those seasonings, but the tofu is almost done. I've heard there's different types of tofu you can get. There's firm tofu, there's soft tofu, there's extra firm tofu. I actually prefer the soft. I think most people, I don't know, I think the consensus is that most people prefer the firm. I actually like the soft a bit more. Alright, I don't know, I prefer the texture, especially when you pan fry it, put it in salads, it's so good. Anyways, let's take a look here in a second at this seitan. Wow, look at that. Look how meaty that looks. Now see how easy it was for me to break up that tofu. Let's try and break a piece of the seitan. Now that it's seasoned well, it's a bit easier to break up, but when you first use seitan, it's definitely not as easy to break up. This is a bit easier to break up, but you can still see how tough it is. Look at that. Like meat. It's literally like meat, but it's not meat at all. So delicious in a salad. I do like to break it up once we get it simmered a bit. So this is pretty much done. I may let this simmer a bit more once I break it up into the chunks I like. We're gonna let both of these cook for just a wee bit more, and then I'm gonna put them on the salad. I'll show you what they look side by side, and you can tell, you know, which one you may like more, the seitan or the tofu, or maybe you'll like both. Let's see. By the way, if you're wondering what tools I'm using, I think, a Ninja Foodie non-stick saucepan and a, granite stone saucepan, both non-stick. Very, very good saucepans, but you want to make sure you use the proper tools. I'm using a wooden spatula here. Either use wooden or, non-stick. Alright? Alright. I'm going to let these cook for a bit more, and then I'll put them on the salad, and I'll let you see side by side what they look like. Alright, here we've got the finished product. Over on the left here, we have the tofu, seasoned with some organic adobo seasoning and garlic salt, pan fried. And on the right here, we have the seitan. Alright. This is the seitan, also pan seasoned, or pan fried, but not seasoned. I actually forgot to put the adobo seasoning on it, but I'm not bothered by it because I'm sure it'll be just delicious because it's already seasoned. With this, because it's more of a doughy texture, it's good for you to soak it in some sort of like liquid mixture with seasoning in it so it can kind of soak up the flavor. And whatever it soaks up, it eventually, it will taste like once you season it or use it to your liking. So which one to you looks more like meat? For me personally, it's the seitan. But that does not mean the tofu is not just as delicious. If you mix the two, it is a mouthful of goodness either way. So I'm going to go enjoy this good, delicious salad. I'm going to go find me some delicious, I'm going to go find me some delicious dressing, maybe sprinkle some Parmesan cheese on it, and this is my dinner / lunch, you guys. Alright? This is the difference between tofu and seitan, and this is also how to cook tofu and seitan. Thank you all for listening and watching. I'm going to go enjoy this salad. Love and light. God bless. Until the next one. Love and light. And make sure you like, share, subscribe, follow me on this page and my main page, Lamarr Townsend Tarot, where I do tarot readings, psychic readings, astrology. If you want a personal reading, check out my website, lamarrtownsendtarot.com. God bless.